All right, my friends, happy Saturday. Good to see all you guys. Hope everyone is having a great weekend so far. And welcome back to another Dividend Happy Hour. This one, I know we're a little bit off schedule this week, guys. Not only are we a day late, but we're also an hour early. But anyway, I'm glad you guys could make it. I'm sorry I couldn't get together with you guys last night for the stream, but we're going to have a fun time tonight. Um, yeah, I don't know what else I can tell you guys. Once again, I hope everyone's having a great weekend. I know it was a really interesting week on the stock market. Real quick, I'll show you guys where the portfolio is sitting at. I think I lost, and I'm going to be talking about this in a video coming out tomorrow, but I think I lost about almost 3,000 just in a couple days. And taking a look at my dividend portfolio tracking spreadsheet, here's where things are at right now. So the portfolio is still at over 85,000, but prior to the big drop that we saw earlier this week, I was pretty close to, I think I was in the 87s, guys, and I saw it get as low as like 84, 100. And we can see that Friday was a really good day, rebounded a bit, gained about $1,100 back, which is going to put us right here. But yeah, December has been a tough month, guys. And I'll talk about this more in my video going out tomorrow, but this has been my worst month by far here in 2024. So we're definitely closing things out with a bang. And it'll be interesting to see what these next 10 days look like before we officially get into 2025. But anyway, enough nonsense, guys. Let's kick this thing off the best way we know how. So grab whatever it is you're sipping on, crack this bad boy open. All right. Cheers, my friends. Here's to you guys. Thanks for tuning in with me tonight and, working around your schedules too. Well, hopefully you guys didn't go too out of your way, but I'm stoked to see you guys tonight. And I'm sorry that we had to do things a little bit differently this week. I know I said this last week, but we should be back to normal officially next week, next Friday. I can't see any reason why I wouldn't stream Friday at our normal time. But anyway, here's to you guys. And also here's to the dividends and the pursuit of that sweet, sweet cash flow, because that's really what's bringing us together tonight. But either way, cheers. And let me know a couple things here, guys, in the chat. Number one, I want to know, what did you buy this week? Which stocks did you add to your portfolio? There's some good discounts out there. With what we've seen this month, there are quite a handful of opportunities out there. And in tomorrow's video, I keep plugging it. In tomorrow's video, I'm going to be sharing with you 3 stocks that I'm going to start buying as of this upcoming week. I'm done with Clear Secure. At least for now, I've built up a pretty solid position, and I'll show you guys that position in just a moment. But I'm ready to switch gears. There are 3 stocks that I'm really looking forward to buying again. All of these are looking pretty good, just comparing the current share price to my cost basis. So I'm going to be switching gears starting this upcoming week. Going to be buying some different stocks, and I'll show you that Clear Secure position in just a moment. But anyway, yeah, let me know what you picked up this week. Number 1. Number 2, what are you sipping on tonight? What did you bring to drink to the Dividend Happy Hour? I got my classic Fresca here. I'm all out of, I don't even want to say it because I was given a hard time for even just saying this soda's name last week, but I'm all out of Squirt. I'm squirtless this week. And I could have had a Coke Zero, but Fresca just hits the spot. So let me know what you're sipping on, number 2. Number 3, did anything cool happen in your guys' portfolio this week? Did you hit any SCHD milestones? Maybe you officially hit those 100 shares, or maybe you reached a certain dividend income milestone. Like maybe you're officially at $3,000 of projected annual income. But anyway, anything cool that happened to you guys, I want to hear about that in the chat. And number 4, do we have any first timers here in the Dividend Happy Hour? Let us know in the chat if this is your first time tuning into the live stream. In case it is, we typically do this live stream every single week. You could see from the title of this video and on the thumbnail, this is episode 121. So this is a regular occurring series here on the channel. Usually it's every Friday night starting at 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern time. But these last few weeks, I've been a little bit off that normal schedule, and I apologize, guys. But yeah, these last few weeks really, just with the holiday season, it's been a little bit tough to do everything according to the regular schedule. But Normal week, Friday nights, 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern time. So anyway, let me know those few things here in the chat. Let me scroll all the way up to the top and see who we got. Looks like there's about 115 of us here in the stream right now, which is awesome. And also, guys, one thing I want to do, I don't know if you can see this. You can probably see this little, got a stack of books over here. I want to go through, you guys. I got some early Christmas. I want to go through these with you guys real quick. I got some early Christmas presents. Most of them were books. So I want to show you what the haul is here. So anyway, going back up, the first name I see in the chat is Dylan. What's happening, Dylan from the UK? Thanks for tuning in. We got Chris in here, who is officially a mod. And by the way, guys, I'm looking for probably at least a couple other mods for the channel. We got Matt in here, who's also a mod. And if you guys are interested, shoot me an email or shoot me a message on Instagram or on Discord, however you want to get in touch with me. If you're interested in being a moderator for these Dividend happy hours, basically just to help manage comments. We've been getting some trolls here really this last month. And so with Chris and Matt added to the roster and any of you other guys who would like to be moderators, it will definitely help keep the live chat free and clear of any trolls, spam, and other distractions. What else can I say? I don't know. Matt and Chris, I appreciate you guys willing to be moderators, though. So thank you. Anyway, we also have Bubbles here. We've got Fallen Wrath. Good to see you guys. Friendly Dick. Let's see. This is a good question. What do you think about the current situation on the market, Ryan? We'll save this one. I'll circle back to this question. And if you guys have any questions, just drop them in the chat. We'll go through them. As I'm getting caught up here in the live chat, I'll just save some of these questions and we'll circle back to them. Friendly Dick. Wow. Another good question. Talking about opportunities like Vici, Realty Income, and Johnson & Johnson. Let me just say, I'll just answer that one very quickly. Watch my video tomorrow because it's covering exactly those three stocks. Spoiler alert. So check out my video tomorrow. I'll talk more about them. Aaron's here. What's up, Aaron? Good pickups too with Cintas and Vici. Nice. Bernard's here. Pat's here. What's up, Pat? Shamir, we missed you last week, man. Good to see you. Happy to have you back. Suzuki Man's in the building. What's up, Suzuki Man? Mr. Watsco. Mr. Watsco. We got Alan here. What's going on, Alan? Yeah, this is awesome. I'm going to start telling my mom that all I want for a gift is money to invest, whether it's for my birthday or Christmas, just like what your family does. Yeah, that is a great gift. You know, I don't know how old you are, Alan, or any of you guys for that matter, but I don't know about you, but as I've gotten older, there's just less things like material things that I want come birthday or come Christmas. I just, you know, pretty good as far as stuff goes. Don't feel like I need or want any more stuff except for books. I can always use more books. But that aside, it's like these days for me, the best gift is just money for the Charles Schwab account. And so, yeah, Alan, I mean, that's definitely a great gift. And let us know if Santa's good to you this year. Let us know if Santa listens to that request. Let's see. Who else we got? Jeremy's here. What's up, Jeremy? Boaz, what's going on? Nathan, what's going on, dude? Let's see. Pat is here as well. What's going on, Pat? We have Pat and Patrick. Call them both Pat. Let's see. Who else? Joey, what's up, Joey? Good to see you, my friend. Horatio, what's happening? Oh, nice. Mill bought that Lulu hoodie. Yeah. How do you like it so far? Hope you enjoy it. Let's see. What else we got? Yeah, a lot of pickups. I'm seeing a lot of Realty Income in the chat. I'm seeing a lot of Vici Properties. Good buys right now, guys. Good stuff. Jay's here. What's going on, Jay? Trying to quit soda, drinking apple juice. Nice. Cool. Vacation time. What's going on, my friend? Yep, I see a lot more Realty Income, some SCHD, of course. Yeah, UNH too. Patrick, this is a nice little shopping spree here. Vici, UNH, J&J, and Realty Income. Yeah, UNH and ELV, Elements Health, both seem like other very popular options right now. I'm seeing a lot of investors in the Discord group picking those up. With that in mind, too, if you're not in the Discord group, it's free to join, guys. There's a link to it in the description. It's basically just one big group chat. it's a lot of the you guys here in the live chat are already in the Discord group. So it's kind of a continuation of this live chat here. But yeah, definitely check out the Discord group. It's a lot of fun, a lot of great people in there. We're almost at 4,000 people in the Discord group. So it's getting up there in numbers too. But yeah, definitely check that out. Free to join. Link in the description. Who else we got? JJ's here. Fast Eddie, what's going on? Oh, we got Daniel, first time in the live stream. Nice. And he asks, how much SCHD is it for $3,000 a year in dividends? So I'm going to save this question too. We'll circle back to that and we can crunch those numbers. That's super easy. Let's see. Speak Life. Nice. First time in the live stream as well. Always watches the replays, but first time live. Well, I hope you enjoy it. And yeah, it's a little bit of a different energy being here live action than it is watching the replay. So happy to have you. Thank you for tuning in. So Jeremy, this is a cool milestone. I'm slightly over $100 per month average in dividends now. Good job, my friend. That's awesome. 3 figures every month without having to lift a finger. That's great. Yep, see some more purchases, more Vici properties, more realty income. Nice. Lynn's here. What's up, Lynn? Oh, Fallen Wrath, this is your first time as well. Well, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, here we go. That's what I was talking about. Some ELV, definitely a popular one. Wow, look at all that SHD and DGRO. Nice, nice. Oh, high tech. Is that a Rolex sub you're wearing or GMT? Neither, actually. I will show you this. So this is my Seiko Solar Dive watch. I've worn this watch so many times in videos and on the live streams and stuff, but it's usually on a NATO strap, which is basically like a nylon, fabric strap. But I just got one of my early Christmas presents was a this Jubilee style bracelet from a company called Uncle Straps. And yeah, so I just put this bad boy on the Seiko Dive, and let me show you the Solar Diver here if it'll focus. So that's what it looks like. And it's funny, I was telling my wife, I just swapped out the bracelet today, and I was telling my wife it's almost like getting a whole new watch, having it on this this strap instead of the NATO strap. Super stoked about it. But yeah, thank you for asking. I would love to someday get, I don't know if I'd want a Rolex sub. I think I'd rather, honestly, this might be weird, but I think I'd rather have a Tudor Black Bay. I think I'm liking those more. But I do like the GMTs. It'd be really cool to get a Pepsi GMT someday, whether that's a Rolex or even one of the micro brands. I've been looking at some of the GMT, like Pepsi style, very similar to the Rolex GMT, but a lot cheaper. Jay, where do you buy your books from? I get them from Amazon, and I'll go through this list here with you in just a moment. Let me get caught up in the chat. Looks like I'm a few minutes behind, so I'll try and scroll down more quickly. Yeah, Horatio's first time here. Welcome. Welcome to the stream. Jay, did I just answer this, right? I know I pulled it up on the screen, but did I say where I get my books from? It's from, I think I did, Amazon every time. I just have I have a list, a reading list that I save books to on Amazon, and then I'll pretty much buy them like a few at a time, like this, although these were presents, but I'll get them in bunches kind of like this, and this will keep me, honestly, I probably get 2 book hauls per year. One for Christmas, one for my birthday. And usually like the books that I get from one last me till the next haul. So yeah, this will definitely keep me busy probably till my birthday in July. So we'll see though, actually. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll see. We'll see. Philip wants to know, is Verizon reaching for yield? We'll circle back to this one. Take a look at Verizon. What's up, Kevin? Kevin Burgess in the building. Hope you're doing well. Jay from Tech. Okay, asked about SHD versus realty income. We'll save that one too. Zameen asks about selling puts. I'll save that one. Uh-oh, Teeps is in the building. Jeff Teeples, everyone. The man of the hour. Good to see you, man. Yeah, thank you for the encouragement. Guys, definitely check out Jeff's channel. He's crushing it over there, and you guys should see his portfolio. My goodness gracious. You're at like something like 1.5 million, I think, right, Jeff? Somewhere in that range. All right. You like this on the strap? Yeah, it was just different. I really like it like this right now, and I'll probably keep it like this for a while, but at some point I'll go back to the NATO strap, I'm sure. It's just kind of nice to, switch it up every once in a while. It keeps it interesting. Okay. Steve asks about crypto. This is a good question. Okay, Blue Boater is asking about Mondelez. Great question too. We'll take a look at that. Oh, okay, 1.55 million after the dip. Cool. Well, guys, I'm all caught up in the chat. We've got 7 great questions saved that we'll try and get to. We'll get to all of them, but before we do, I want to just give you a little update on what's going on the book side of things. And sometimes I get a little slack for talking about books, but I enjoy it. I think for the most part, you guys like hearing about this stuff too. And I've said it before. I'll say it again. I think reading and investing really go hand in hand. I think it's a necessary activity. If you're going to work to become a better investor, I think reading is it's a habit that you'll have to get into. So let me just go through with you guys. This is what I'm actually in the process of reading 2 different books right now. The first one is Fooled by Randomness by Nassim Nicholas Taleb. And I got to admit, I really don't enjoy this book that much. The whole point of the book is supposed to be how, like, the role that randomness and luck plays when it comes to success or failure in the stock market. And what I found so far with this book, and I had to look on Reddit to see what other people were saying too, because I just wanted to make sure I wasn't crazy and it wasn't just me. This book has gotten a lot of praise from what I know, like in the investment community. This is a highly regarded book, and he's a highly regarded author, but I just do not like it. I feel like he's all over the place, just kind of rambles. He just seems kind of just very self-righteous to me. And I don't know. The book's all over the place. There's no rhyme or reason behind it. It's just a lot. The book itself, the book Fooled by Randomness itself, is a lot of randomness. And so, but I'm almost done. I've probably got 80 pages left, and it's pretty quick to read. So I'm just going to tough it out and get through to the end. And yeah, I've been a bit disappointed with it so far, though. I've gotten a few good quotes out of it that I'm going to write about in my Investor's Almanac. So it's not, not all for nothing. There was some good that has come out of it, but overall, if I have to, if we're throwing out stars, this is a 1 out of 5 for me. So, good question about this. A good question about ETFs versus picking stocks, whatever. That's a really good question. We'll definitely go through that one. So anyway, guys, that's book number 1 that I'm reading. Book number 2, and I just got this one. I didn't realize how big and thick this book is. It's almost it's 550 pages. This one is The Creature from Jekyll Island. I've been wanting to read this book for a while, but it's about the Federal Reserve and I guess kind of the backstory of how the central bank in the United States came to be. And it doesn't really hold it in high regard at all. In fact, it's pretty bearish on the central bank in the Federal Reserve. So I'm not that far into it. I think I'm 70 pages into it. But I will say it's been eye-opening so far. I'm enjoying it. And this is one that I don't think I'll take any book notes on. It's not really, I don't think it's one of those books. I'm more so reading this one just for information. Versus reading I don't know. I probably won't take book notes on it, though, is what I'm saying. Now, book number 3, I'll move through these a little bit quicker. This one is called Hooked, and I'm really excited to get into this one. So Hooked, How to Build Habit-Forming Products. And I'm hoping that I'll get some good takeaways from this one that I can apply to Snap stock. and the Investment Club. So I'm really looking forward to diving through this one, seeing what I learn and seeing how I can apply that to, you know, products that I'm working on putting out. So I think it'll be a really fun and hopefully a helpful read there. This next one is, I'm excited about this one too. 10 drugs. The subtext is, the subtitle, How Plants, Powders, and Pills Have Shaped the History of Medicine. So I think this will be, hopefully I'll learn something about like the pharmaceutical industry. That's kind of why I wanted to dip into this one, is kind of a good way to dip my toe into that pool and start learning more about some of this stuff and how it works. And then I'll probably go from there after this. So that's number 4. This next book, you guys will recognize this one. Some of you have probably already even read this one. This is REITs for Dummies by Brad Thomas. Really stoked for this one. Basically, it's just, well, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's one of those blank for dummies books, and this one's all about investing in real estate investment trusts. So, and I read a lot of Brad Thomas's stuff on Seeking Alpha, so stoked to get into this one. It's definitely like a textbook, seems like. So that'll be interesting. And also this one is kind of like a textbook. Last but not least, this is The Corporate Life Cycle by Aswath Damodaran, who is someone that I watch a lot on YouTube, have learned a lot from over these years. In fact, on his YouTube channel, he's got a whole video series about this book, basically the topics that he goes over in the book. And I watched a handful of those videos, and I've enjoyed the videos enough that I thought I should get the book and try it out and see how I like it. And I'm a little bit scared because I've read some of his stuff in the past, and the writing, the way he writes, I have a hard time following it. The last book I read from him was a bit over my head. So I'm hoping that this one's a bit more tame, and I hope I enjoy it, because this one really is like a full-on textbook. It's pretty lengthy too. It's, about 530 pages. So, but anyway, guys, that's the current state of the collection. So I'm going to finish Fooled by Randomness, hopefully in the next few days. Get caught up on all my book notes from that, and continue reading Creature from Jekyll Island. And I probably won't start another book until I finish this Creature from Jekyll Island. So anyway, that'll keep me busy for a while, but yeah, was stoked to get a handful of new books, and I'm excited to dive into them. So guys, that's the spread. Now, let's get into some of these questions. And I want to kind of work backwards. I want to start with this question here, because I thought this was a really good question, really, really interesting question. And I've talked about this one. I've actually talked about this quite a bit in different live streams, newsletters, other videos. And it's a pretty common question. I would say that something like this is one that I get very frequently. And generally speaking, the question is asking, why would you pick stocks when it's so much easier, straightforward, you have to spend less time doing it, to invest in something like a diversified dividend ETF? And I think there is the answer to this question is kind of a two-parter. Number one, and in this question here, Matt's comparing it to SCHD. Why would I have a portfolio of individual stocks that I handpick and research when I can just put it all in SCHD? And if you can't beat a diversified ETF's yield, why stock pick? So generally speaking, individual stocks versus ETFs, that's where it becomes a two-parter. Number one, I really enjoy the process of researching individual companies. I really enjoy the process of handpicking the stocks in my portfolio and just custom building my portfolio from the ground up. It certainly takes more time than just putting it into SCHD, but it's something that I enjoy. And, this is one of my hobbies. And so the time that it takes to do this, I don't mind doing it, and I actually enjoy doing it. So that's probably the biggest reason. And I get a lot out of it too. Like, I've learned investing in individual companies and learning how to invest in individual companies and knowing what to look for, the wins and the losses and mistakes and lessons learned along the way. I've been able to get a lot out of going through this process. So, I think it's been important for me just in my development as a human being to do some of this stuff. So hopefully that makes sense. But then the second parter is, and this kind of touches to the second part of your question, if you can't beat SCHD, why would you pick stocks? Well, I have actually outperformed SCHD um, since, well, I don't know if it'll over here on Snowball. I don't know how far back it will go. I don't think it'll go all the way back to when I um, first started posting videos on YouTube. But let's go over here. So take it as far back as we can go. Um, which I think this goes back to sometime in 2022. But even during this time, I have outperformed SCHD. So let's go all. Yeah. So my portfolio basically from now until from July 2022 until now is outperforming SCHD by about 9.5%. So, my efforts have certainly paid off against investing in the holy grail of dividend ETFs. But that's not to say that just investing in ETFs is a bad strategy at all. I mean, it works fine. It's great for probably most people because most people are not going to want to pick individual stocks. They're not going to want to learn how to pick individual stocks. They don't really care about any of that stuff. They don't invest because they like it or enjoy it. They do it because they have to. And for those people just going into something like VU or SEHD or just whatever, building your portfolio around ETFs, that's for sure the way to go. So hopefully that answers the question. I think that's always a really good question. Yeah, I always think that's a really good question. So I'm happy that you asked that one. And you said here that I say that as a person with SCHD as their biggest holding. I have other growth in moonshot stocks as well, but it's all going to end up in SCHD and VU eventually. Yeah, and truth be told, I don't know if I will get to a point where I just decide this isn't fun for me anymore. I'll just go all in on ETFs. And I'm not going to be dogmatic about it either way. If for some reason someday down the road I just kind of lose interest in doing this, then yeah, I'll probably would do the same. Just roll everything into ETFs and call it a day. But for now, I'm really enjoying what I'm doing. I'm really enjoying the process. I feel like I get a lot out of it, so I'm going to keep rocking with it, and it's been paying off. So yeah, everything seems to be going pretty swimmingly. Okay, asking about the books again. I'll save this and circle back to. I'll circle back to going through these books again. I want to get through the rest of these questions here because we only have about 30 minutes left in the stream. Okay, Matt's got a good question about Rollins. Okay, so let's go back over here to the saved one. So this next one is from Friendly Dick, who wants to know what I think about the current situation on the market. And real quick, I want to know your guys' thoughts on this too, the current situation of the market. So the market, as I see it, is still very hot. 2023 was a good year. 2024 has been a very good year, even despite the pullback that we've seen here in December. 2024 has been a very good year on the stock market. And I've said this quite a few times, so I apologize if you're hearing me repeat myself, but I feel like this year, really since last November of 2023, it seems to me that the gains have just been coming way too easy. They've been coming way too quick. If we actually go back over here to Snowball, which, by the way, guys, if you ever want to check out Snowball Analytics, there's a link to this in the description of the video, and you can try it out for 2 weeks free. This is, outside of my free spreadsheet here, this is one of my favorite portfolio trackers. This one and GetQuinn, in my mind, are the two best out there. And so if you ever want to check out Snowball, there's a link to it in the description. You can try it out 2 weeks for free. But this right here shows the breakdown of my return so far this year. And just from looking at these, it's been a lot more green than red. And some of this green has been pretty substantial. 5.8% gain in March, 6% in July, 4% in August, 5.8% last month in November, okay? And the only two really bad months were April, where I was down 4%, and then this month, where I'm down 5.2% so far. So with that said, that things to me still seem very, very frothy. And I feel like what we're seeing now, this minus 5.2%, a lot of which really was a reaction to the Federal Reserve's news to only cut interest rates twice next year. So a lot of the pullback we've seen this month has come from that news, just a reaction to that news. But still, I feel like we've been about due for a pullback, just given how good things have been. And I'm not just talking about like 5.2% down in December. Like it wouldn't surprise me if if this continues, or if at some point in the future we see even more red and even bigger drawdowns. And with that said, as an aside, I have no idea if or when that I have no idea when that will happen. Okay. I'm not saying it's going to happen in January or February. It could not even happen in 2025, but at some point we'll have to see some sort of correction or some sort of pullback, I think. But as far as how I feel about the current market situation, I mean, that's pretty much it. It's been hot, but still there's some good buying opportunities out there. I think REITs are looking pretty good right now, especially after the recent news. Some of these health insurance companies have really taken a hit. I'm even seeing my great white whale. Matt talked about it or asked about it. I'm even seeing Rollins start to see a nice pullback. I think it's right around $47 a share right now. So, and I hope that continues. Knock on wood for that. But outside of everything I just said, I don't really have too serious of an opinion on the current situation in the market. We're just all along for the ride, and I'm still continuing to buy every single week and trying to allocate my funds the best way that I can, I guess. So okay, so anyway, moving on to this next question here from Daniel. Says, how much SCHD, basically how much SCHD do you need to have to bring in $3,000 per year in dividends? And this will be very easy to find out. So let me go over to my spreadsheet here. Let me zoom in here, guys. So, okay, this is a little page that I have just saved on my version of the spreadsheet. So we have SCHD plugged in here. Our goal is to generate $3,000 of annual dividend income, right? So change that from 1,000 to 3,000. And we can tell that you would need about 3,000 shares of realty income, or you need to have about $82,700 invested to be generating $3,000 per year in dividends, just with SCHD. So I'll leave that there for a sec, just so you can take that in. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So oops, did not mean to do that. Okay. So this next question from Philip, is Verizon reaching for yield? It's under $40 per share. I haven't looked at Verizon for a while, but I would say that generally speaking, you would be buying Verizon for probably for the high starting yield and income. Their dividend growth rate, from what I remember, is still intact. Let's see. Going over to Snapstock real quick. So yeah, under $40 a share, they're up almost 12% this year. In the last year, free cash flow yield is really high. Wow. So that looks really good. Looks like earnings per share is trended down these last couple of years. They had negative earnings in Q4 last year, huh? Free cash flow looks pretty good. Sales are still trickling up ever so slightly. Margins are hanging in there. Looks like the net margins, maybe not so much, but this isn't quite right. But yeah, I think they probably have close to 20 years of dividend growth history, I would think. 20 years exactly. Okay. So yeah, I mean, I would say that you're probably buying Verizon, and the payout ratio is a good spot too. You're probably buying Verizon, and it's the free cash flow payout ratio is in great spot as well. Nice. So yeah, my take is that you're probably buying Verizon just for that high starting yield, which seems to be, there's a great history of them maintaining that and growing it, not by much, right? The 5-year CAGR is only 2%, but when you have that high starting yield, you can probably take a lower dividend growth rate. So, yeah, I would say you probably won't generate the most amount of total returns with something like Verizon, but you will get steady income. And so if that is your primary objective in your portfolio, then it might not be a bad one to consider. But I wouldn't expect crazy crazy total returns from Verizon anytime soon. So it just depends what you're looking for, I think. Okay. So let's this next question here is from Jay. Would you go more into SCHD or realty income? And it's tough. I have a really hard time choosing between the two because I think they're so different. One's an ETF, one's an individual stock, one's a higher yielding stock with a lower growth rate. The other's the inverse of that. Um, and so I don't know. I just I don't think they have to be mutually exclusive. I say have both. I think I personally own both, and I think there's certainly room for both in a portfolio. So um, I'm just gonna leave the answer right there. And then Zameen here says, do you dollar cost average or do you sell puts to get into positions? I currently do not do any options, no covered calls, no cash secured puts. I dollar cost average into my portfolio, both of my accounts, my taxable account and my Roth IRA every single week. And also pretty soon I'm going to start dollar cost averaging into my wife's brokerage account, which I am still in the process of transferring over from Robinhood to Schwab. But that should be done by the end of next week. That'll all be settled. And so once that's done, I'm going to set it up to start automatically transferring some money in there every week. So, but yeah, I dollar cost average every single week. Okay, so what I missed in the chat here? Colby, what's up, man? Good to see you. Yeah, Matt, that's a good question too about non-dividend stocks. I'll circle back to that question. That's a good one. You're throwing out some good ones tonight, my friend. But this next one here comes from Steve, who says, how do you resist the urge to buy crypto? I have a friend who's done really well the last 2 years. I suggested 2025 she get into dividend stocks, but she's freaking out because of the taxes. Any advice? So I've never found resisting the urge to buy crypto that difficult. Yeah, I've been totally fine not buying Bitcoin or Ethereum or any of the others. There have been times where I've missed out on gains because of that. There have been other times where I've been glad that I didn't own any. But I would say that that general sentiment is true of any of the high flying it stocks of the moment, including like the Palantirs and the SoFis and GameStops. Not, and I don't want to put GameStop in the same categories as other stuff because I do think that it's different, but you know what I'm saying. There's always it stocks. There's always it securities. Nvidia is another one that people pile into, and I've never had an issue not taking part in that. And I actually got this really good question, and I wrote about it recently in the newsletter. Someone asking a very similar thing. Well, kind of similar. It was a little bit of a twist on this. It was basically, how are you okay, like passing up on some of these things that have done really good this year? How are you okay doing that in and opting for this, dividend investing approach, which is admittedly slower and steadier and, hasn't gone up as quickly, at least these last couple of years. And I don't know, it's just been very easy. Like dividend investing fits my temperament. I'm seeing great results in my portfolio, not only in looking at the total returns, but also just in terms of the dividend income growing itself. And that's really exciting to me. And so I just really like what I'm doing. And I feel really confident in this style of investing in the sense that I'm certain that it's a good fit for me. And so I think if you have that, you don't feel as much of a pull into some of these other types of securities or other types of investing, just because I know that what I'm doing works for me. So I'm happy sticking with it. So hopefully that makes sense. And if you want to hear some more discussion on this, actually, go check out the newsletter that I just posted. I'll show you. If you go over to my website, just Retire with Ryan, head over to read newsletter, and scroll down to this one right here, my dividend investing goals for 2025. If you scroll down kind of towards the bottom, every single week there's a section called Since You Asked, which is basically just me answering your guys' questions. And I talk about some of this stuff, or I write about some of this stuff here at the bottom of the newsletter. So if you want some more discussion on that, definitely go check that out on the site. Yeah, let's move on. Steve, really good question. Thank you for asking. So this next one is from Blue Boater. This one's a pretty quick. I'll make this one pretty quick. I've been getting a lot of questions lately about Mondelez. It seems like maybe the last 3 weeks, maybe even longer, someone's brought it up in the chat. So, and I don't want to go through it again because I feel like we've gone through it so much lately. But long story short, I do think Mondelez is one of the good companies, a good long-term hold. A lot of great brands under their umbrella. The financials look pretty solid too. So I was very pleasantly surprised, or I have been very pleasantly surprised as we've been going through Mondelez in these streams. But yeah, it looks like a pretty solid consumer staples company from what I can see. So good question. Before we move on to the next one, we've got 3 more saved. I just want to see what I missed here in the chat. Oh, and Steve, also, yeah, you mentioned something regarding the crypto, right? You said that she was freaking out about the taxes from dividend stocks. Well, I would wager that like when she goes to sell her crypto, I mean, she'll have to pay taxes on that as well. So, you know, you're taxed. You're going to get taxed. You're going to get taxed either way. So, yeah, I don't know. Curly, yeah, this is just a one-off thing. We're still doing them Friday nights. I just wasn't around last night to do the stream, so we're making up for it tonight. But yeah, next week we should be back to our normal schedule, Friday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific time. So yeah, so Ashton got a good question about realty income in taxable versus Roth. We'll check that one out. B Still's asking about the wife's account. I will answer that as well. So, Pepin, you were asking about evolution, looking solid like that. I was very surprised by the financials on that company. It looks really good, really, really good looking company. CJ, what's going on, my friend? Thank you for the kind words. I appreciate that. Steve, yeah, because I'm the tax man. Yeah, I'm the tax man. Who sings it, guys? Who is it? And what album? Bonus points if you get the album right. Gotta wait to see if you guys answer it here. Mitch, yep, there you go. What's the album? Also, Cohen Bread asked about SCHD. If you go over to my channel, I just last Sunday, actually, I put out a video on why SCHD is still the holy grail of dividend ETF. So definitely go check that out if you want to hear my thoughts on SCHD. Patrick, you're close with Rubber Soul. It actually is the one right after Rubber Soul. Matt got it. It's Revolver. There you go. Mitch, you got it too. Revolver. Yep. What's your guys' favorite Beatles album while we're on the subject? I'm a huge Beatles fan. You can't see it, but I've got tons of like books and memorabilia over here. Yes, Korean Cardboard. I did see the movie yesterday. Really good. Yeah, there you go. Sergeant Pepper's is classic. Help is underrated. I agree. I've just seen a face. Very underrated song. Yesterday is on the Help album too. Really? Revolver was, huh? Yeah, I would say Abbey Road's one of my favorites. Rubber Soul. Honestly, this Beatles for Sale too, which I think was their second album, is or maybe With the Beatles was the second. I don't remember what the order was, but yeah, some of their songs are kind of they do get kind of weird, especially towards the end there. So, um, Sean, I'm 31 years old. I'll be 32 in July. So, okay, let's go back to these questions. Oh yeah, DG. Okay, asking about the book talk. So yeah, let me run through them real quick. So I'll very quickly, guys, super quick. So in DG, you can always go back to the start of the stream too to hear a little bit more in depth. But I'm reading this one right now, Fooled by Randomness, Nassim Taleb. Don't really like it. Not my favorite book. Gonna finish it anyway. I'm also reading this one too. I just started this one, The Creature from Jekyll Island. So this one is basically kind of the origin story of the Federal Reserve, of the central bank here in the United States. And I think I could be wrong about this, but I think the central bank in its current form is like the third time we've had a central bank here in the States. I could be wrong on that. But anyway, that's been a very interesting read so far. This next book is 10 Drugs, How Plants, Powders, and Pills Have Shaped the History of Medicine. So I think it'd be a good primer on the pharmaceutical industry. And I kind of want to go a little bit deeper into it and learn more about it. So I figured this would be a good place to start. So yeah, that's the next book. After that, I have Hooked, How to Build Habit-Forming Products. And I think this one will be good for me when it comes to, learning about, I'm working on Snapstock. I'm working on the Investment Club, the Investor's Almanac. So I'm starting to put out some of my own, products. And so I think this would be a good resource to learn maybe how to be better with that. And make these products even better. So I'm excited for that one. And then I have two more books to show you. We've got REITs for Dummies by Brad Thomas. So this will be a really good book on how to invest in REITs. And then this last one is The Corporate Life Cycle by Aswath Damodaran. So that one should be interesting too. These two, I don't know if you can tell, but they're big books. They're like textbooks. So that should be interesting. Okay, so next question, guys. This one is from Matt, who says, "What's your buy price for the great white whale, Rollins? It is looking cheaper this week than very early this year. Let's see where it finished up the week. I thought it was at just above 47. Let's see where things are at. So 46.92 actually. Still up about 10% this last year, 12% year to date. Matt, part of me sees this and is like, you know what, Ryan, you better just start a position before it gets back above $50 per share. So part of me thinks that, but then I'm also still trying to be patient with it. And I still don't think it's the best valuation for Rollins. I think if I could grab it in the low 40s, maybe 42 or below, I'd go a little bit above 42 if I had to. Like if it got close enough, I would start the position. But that range is kind of what I'm looking for, the low 40s and below with this guy. And you know what? If we look at the free cash flow yield and the earnings yield, these are both very low. They're slightly above the average, or the free cash flow yield is slightly above the average. But still, this is not a high free cash flow yield at all. So based on this, I think it's still a bit frothy. And it looks like the free cash flow yield is pretty much right in line with the 5-year average. So maybe based on that, if that's what we're looking at, and it's a little bit below the 10-year average, as we can see here. So maybe based on those, it is about fairly valued, which would make the low 40s, probably a good time to swoop up some shares. But man, look at this. This is just a work of art. If we just scroll down, looking at these charts, looking really good. So we'll see what happens with it. The dividend yield right now is pretty in line with the average as well. So yeah, I think it's still got a little ways to go before I start a position, but it's getting there. I'm really happy to see the direction it's headed, and I hope that continues. Yeah, adding Rollins could be 2025 goal. Could be. But it just depends on the share price. I don't want to force it. So but anyway, let's see. Matt's got a question here. Another question. Would you ever consider non-dividend stocks like Amazon or Tesla just for the possible growth to roll into dividends later because you like to stock pick? Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed. Well, actually, no. Let me take that back. When it comes to my individual stock positions, at least for now, I want all of them to be dividend payers. That's in the same way that I'd want to see a company with growing sales or growing earnings and free cash flow. I'd want to see a company that is at least paying a dividend. That's still important to me when it comes to the individual stocks I own. When it comes to the non-dividend paying stocks, I feel that I get good exposure to that through the S&P 500, which I dollar cost average into every week. And at the same time, a lot of the dividend paying stocks that I own, like Snap-on, Williams-Sonoma, Lowe's, AbbVie, hopefully eventually Clear Secure. What I'm trying to get to is a lot of the dividend stocks that I own have seen very solid growth, very solid share price appreciation. So at the moment, I don't have any plans to invest in non-dividend paying stocks specifically. Never say never. Maybe someday I'll change my tune and loosen up on that a bit. But for now, the presence of a dividend is still part of my criteria. So, and if that ever changes, you guys will be the first to know. But yeah, still a diehard dividend investor. But anyway, moving on to this next question from Ashton. And Ashton, I think you might have emailed me too. If so, I apologize that I haven't responded yet. Yeah, I see you emailed me this morning, the same question. So this is good. I'll be able to respond to your question here. So the question is, do you have an opinion on having realty income in a Roth versus a taxable? Only asking because of the extra tax implications for the brokerage. Yeah. So here's how it works. When it comes to how dividends are taxed, and there's a bit more nuance to it than this, but this is like the main premise. There's two types of dividends that you can receive. You can receive qualified dividends, or you can receive non-qualified dividends, also called ordinary dividends. And the difference between these two types is how they're taxed. Qualified dividends, which come from, your normal companies like Procter & Gamble, Starbucks, Coca-Cola, SCHD, I think DGRO, VOO, the dividends that you receive from those type of companies and ETFs are qualified dividends. And so those are going to be taxed at a lower rate. Those are going to be taxed as if it's a long-term capital gain. They're taxed at the same rate versus ordinary dividends or non-qualified dividends, which come from things like real estate investment trusts or business development companies. Those are taxed at the ordinary tax rate, which is basically the same rate that your W-2 income is taxed. So that's the difference. And that's why people say that putting REITs and BDCs in a Roth IRA is better because you don't have to worry about the higher tax implications from them. If you were to put them in the brokerage, you'd have to pay that higher tax rate. So that explains the why. But with that, I do think there's some gray area. Your taxable brokerage account still, even though you have to pay taxes on the dividends and gains that you see in that account, there's still some benefits to having a taxable brokerage account. And the main benefit is just flexibility. So I think a lot of it depends too on your time horizon, your timeline, when you plan on living off dividends, when you start pulling your dividends. Because if you plan on an early retirement, like myself, for example, I probably will hit a point if I just keep going at this rate according to the projections that I've seen, which I think could be conservative using conservative inputs. I should reach a point where my portfolio is generating like $2,000 per month in dividends by the time I'm about 45 or 46. So in the next 14, 15 years, my portfolio should reach that point. And at least for now, this could change down the road. But for now, in my mind, I've decided that once I hit that point where I'm bringing in 2K per month or $24,000 per year, I'll start pulling some of those dividends, not all of them, but start pulling some of them and start using them to pay some of my bills. If I could take $1,000 a month and put that towards my mortgage or something like that, that'd be a help. Not gonna be able to retire, but yeah, I think that would help us when it comes time to pay our bills, but also would be a good way to slowly transition into using some of the dividends from my portfolio. One thing that I've heard from a handful of retirees who I've been fortunate enough to speak to through having this channel and the newsletter. um, I was talking, I think maybe Pat, I think it was us that we're emailing back and forth about this um, recently, but some people have a hard time making that transition where they finally feel okay starting to pull some of their dividends and use some of that cash flow, because you get married to that idea. The When it comes to compounding, don't interrupt it, basically. And so some people get to a point where it's just, you're so afraid to interrupt that compounding because every dividend that you pull is not being reinvested, so it slows down the dividend snowball, the growth of that. um but anyway, I think for me, like I was saying, going back to that 2K per month, um I think that would be a good balance between starting to make that transition in my life. And things could change between now and then. But the whole point that I was trying to get to with saying that was, I have my REITs in my taxable account. And my reason for that is because even though, the tax implications aren't as favorable compared to putting it in a Roth, I will be able to start using those dividends so much sooner than the Roth IRA. Based on my goal, like I was just talking about, if it works out to be 45, 46 years old, where, I reach that point in my portfolio, that's still another 13, 14 years before I'd be able to um, use those investments if they were in my Roth IRA. So to me, having that flexibility is important, and it's worth the tax implications that come along with that, which, truth be told, really, like, hasn't been bad at all, at least so far. So it's kind of a trade-off, tax implications, flexibility. You just kind of have to decide what you want out of your portfolio in your time horizon and all that stuff. But with that said, assuming that you will reach, the age of 59 and a half or 60 years old, just barring anything unfortunate happening to you, assuming that you will reach that point, at that point, you will certainly want the most amount of tax-free income and gains that you can get your hands on. And so, with that said, I do think it's important to contribute to a Roth IRA, even if you do have plans to retire early. And I think it's important to max out your Roth IRA if you can, because, like I said, someday you will be 60 years old. And at that point, when you reach that point, you'll want to have some tax-free income. So definitely don't neglect your retirement accounts. Hopefully that makes sense. I know that was quite the roller coaster of an explanation. Okay. Mango, thank you, my friend. Thank you for the kind words. Yeah. Yeah. So it was us that were talking about this, that was talking about this. Zal, sorry, man. Yeah. I was initially going to, and we'll go over a little bit. It's 5 o'clock right now. I was originally going to start the stream right now. Um, but I wanted to do it an hour earlier than usual because my wife's going to be off from work in, well, probably in about 30 minutes, I think she gets off. And so I wanted to just make sure that I was able to, she's had a long day, I know. She's been working hard. So I wanted to take care of making dinner for us tonight, and it would have been helpful for me to start the stream at 4 instead of 5. So that's why we started a little bit early tonight, and I apologize for the inconvenience there. Oh, that's a good question. Is there any reason you shouldn't have a position in both accounts, like realty income in both accounts? No, I don't think so. I think that's fine. Yeah, I think that's probably fine. C, Craig, Meta, what's going on, guys? Happy to see you all. Okay, this last question here that I have saved at least comes from B Still, who says, "What type of investments do you think you will dollar cost average into your WISE portfolio?" We kind of talked about this last week too, but I'm thinking for now I'll just keep it simple with some VU and some SCHDs, pretty similar to just my Roth IRA. So yeah, I'm thinking I'll just stick with that. Ooh, this is a good question. As you continue as as you continue to dollar cost average, is increasing your dividend by 1,000 to 1,200 per year a front burner goal? Um, yeah, I think it'd be awesome to reach a point where the annual dividend income was growing by, 1,000 to 1,200 bucks each year. It will definitely get there. Let's see what it's looked like so far. So let's go over here real quick. So, um, looking at my historical dividends, zoom in a little bit. So this is a pretty nice gain. This is about an $800 gain year over year. This was like a not as big, like a $450 gain. This has been a so far a $550 gain, but I think it'll be about 620 when it's all said and done. Maybe no, maybe about 600 even when it's all said and done. I think I should be bringing in about 2,830 or $40 total in 2024. I still have a couple payments left to receive, so we'll see where that ends up. But that should be about a $600 year over year gain. And I'm thinking if that trend continues, if I can at least add another 600, I should be over. I bet you I could probably get to $3,400 brought like officially paid out in 2025. That'd be awesome if it was higher than that, but I think 3,400 is a good goal. And my goal with the projected annual income is to get that to 3,600, which I think we can do. I think we started out the year at about 2,450. So we've been able to add up almost $600 to the projected annual income just this year. So we should be able to do that and then some here in this upcoming year in 2025. But yeah, to answer the question, I think that'd be a really great thing to shoot for. In these next few years, maybe after the next 3 or 4 years, it can get to a point where instead of the annual income growing by 500 or 600 or what have you, it is getting up to the 4-figure mark, which will be really cool. Very, very cool. So yeah, we'll see what that looks like. Let's see. Yeah, C says, "Do you think we are on the verge of a market crash?" I was kind of talking about this at the start of the stream, but I don't know. I honestly don't know what's going to happen, and I can't predict anything. But and this is what I said at the beginning of the stream. I feel like this year, really these last couple of years, the gains have just been coming very easy. Since last November 2020, November of 2023, the market's just been on fire. And we've had some slight ups and downs, but for the most part, there's been a lot more green than red this year. And so I can't help but think that because it seems like, at least in my portfolio, the value's just gone way up, way fast. I wouldn't be surprised if we were due for some sort of pullback or correction. We've seen some of that this month. My portfolio, we looked at it earlier, is down about 5% just here in December. Pretty big drop. But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if that continued. I feel like we were kind of about due, but when that will actually come to fruition, I have no idea. Yeah, no trolls tonight. That's true. What's up, Sam? Good to see you, my friend. Nice, nice. Zal, were you out partying earlier today? What were you up to today, man? I thought I saw in the Discord you were throwing back a brewski or something. Yeah, Matt and Chris, thank you guys to our moderators. And if any of you guys want to become mods and help out with the live chat, just keep it running smoothly. I'm still looking for a couple more. Really happy to take a couple more on. It's not super, it doesn't mean you have to show up to every live stream or anything. A lot of you guys, I mean, a lot of you guys come every week anyway, so it's one of those things where if you're here, maybe you want to, but no pressure either. Nice, Sam. Up to 50 shares of SCHD. Wow. That's awesome. Dominique from Cambodia. Nice. Yeah, how's it going over there? How's retirement treating you? Happy holidays to you as well. Jay, thinking about selling VOO for SPLG. Is the expense ratio lower? What is it? What's the difference there? So VOO is 0.03, I think. SPLG. Yeah, 0.02. I mean, the returns are they're pretty much going to be the same fund, right? Except one's a lower share price and a slightly lower expense ratio. Yeah, I don't, all else being equal, I don't see why not. Nice, Zal. Sounds like a good day, man. The percent gets smaller each year. It becomes a heavier lift. Anyway, you guys got any last ones? Oh, Korean's got one. We can wrap it up right here. This is a good question. If you could only buy one stock every week next year, which would it be? Dude, that's tough. So if I could only buy one stock, let's just make it that. If I could only buy one stock in 2025 and I had a dollar cost average into it every week, I would probably go Visa. I would put Rollins on there too, actually. Probably Visa or Rollins, yeah. Nice. Meeting people from all over the world, discovering a new culture, and learning the Calmer? How do you pronounce that? Language. Chilling and volunteering. Life is good. I'm glad to hear that. That's awesome. That's really good to hear. Yeah, Suzuki Man says Watsco. Yeah. Mr. Watsco. Tony, that's a good question. You think Visa is still at a good value? Yeah, I think. What's the free cash flow yield at, actually? 2.95. No, it's not. Truthfully, it's not at the best valuation. Do I think that it'd be the end of the world if you bought shares right now? Probably not. If you held it for the next 10, 15, 20 years, I still think you'd fare pretty well. But yeah, admittedly, and it's right there, like pretty close to its 52-week high. So Admittedly, it's a lot nicer. It was a lot nicer when it was, about 270 and below. It seems like it went from there to here very, very quickly. So yeah, it's not the best value, but it is one that I would feel really good about dollar cost averaging into every week next year. Um, yeah, I was gonna say the same thing as Zal here too. If I had to go with an alternative, one that's at a better valuation, it would probably be Realty Income. Johnson and Johnson would also be there too. Like if I had to pick between those two, if I was looking for something at a more attractive valuation, I probably would lean more into one of those two, possibly even VG Properties at this point. But no, I don't think. I think the valuation for Visa could be better. I think the valuation for Rollins could be better too. I do like the idea of dollar cost averaging into them every week, though. This is a great question, and we will make this one the last one of the night because this is a good one to end on. So when you're making a position of a particular stock, what things are you thinking of when you say this is the amount I want to get and stop contributing at a certain amount? So basically, how do I know when I'm building on a position? How do I know when enough is enough? And it depends on the position. Like with Visa, for example, I knew I I knew that that was a company that, like, to me, it's like the gold standard. I have a hard time thinking of a better company just fundamentally and financially than Visa. And so that one was a pretty no-brainer that I'd want to make it the largest position, individual stock position in my portfolio. So for me with that one, it's like the more the merrier. But then contrasting that to or comparing that to Clear Secure, which is the most recent addition to my portfolio, um, I kind of jumped into that one without doing a lot of research, which was kind of the exact opposite of how I typically approached starting new positions. Historically, I felt that I took too long and ended up it's caused me to miss out on certain things like Rollins. Um, so I wanted to take like the opposite approach with Clear Secure and just kind of like shoot first, ask questions later. And so with that approach, I didn't want to make it a huge position right off the bat. I figure if I get Clear Secure to about 100 shares, which would make it probably about 3% of my portfolio, that's a pretty moderate size position. That's kind of like middle of the road for me. And, it's a decent enough position to where if it grows, it should move the needle some in my portfolio. But if for some reason I'm completely wrong on the position and it goes to zero, which I don't think it will, um, it's not something that I can't recover from. So part of it is risk management, I think, in how confident or yeah, I guess so, how confident you are in the position. And so for now with Clear Secure, I'm kind of here, I'll just show you the position. I was going to do that earlier actually. Um, but I forgot. So here's where that's at right now. 104 shares at an average cost of 29.70, and my goal was to get it to 100 shares. Right now I'm down 10%. So nothing I won't be able to recover from. I'm only down $300, and it makes up about 4% of my portfolio. So, if this doubles, if this position were to double, which I think it's volatile enough, and the financials, at least so far, do support that type of return. If this doubles, it would become close to 8% of my portfolio. That's a good chunk of change. That would make it one of my largest positions, right up there with Visa and Starbucks. And actually, as I'm looking at this, with the recent drop from Starbucks was down just like 10% this last week. Visa is now officially the largest individual position in my portfolio. So that's good to see. So yeah, it just depends, Ashton, to answer your question, just depends on a handful of different things. So, Luis, this is the last one. Do you plan to start investing in Jeppy? What are your thoughts about it? No plans to invest in Jeppy. I used to own it. I sold out of it. I am off a covered call ETFs. I don't have any interest in owning any of them. Never say never, but at least for like the foreseeable future. Although I do think Jeppy and JEPQ are some of the better covered call ETFs. I would rather own something that's not like where the income's not from derivatives like it is with covered call ETFs. I'd rather just invest in companies that are, selling products or services, generating sales, bringing in free cash flow and paying out dividends that way. Um, to me, that's more straightforward, and it's just more straightforward to me than covered call ETFs. And the thing with covered call ETFs is I feel like they're a dime a dozen these days. There's a new one coming out every single week, and I can't keep up with it. And so I don't even want to get involved with it. Okay. 5. Yeah, guys, I think we are going to wrap it up here. Jay, just I keep saying this is the last one. This is the last one. Do you have a certain time a stock drops below your average? Do you add every 5%, 10% drop at a time? I mean, generally speaking, I like to average down when I can, but I don't every time. Like I'm looking at my portfolio right now. I'm down quite a bit on WP carry. I don't really have plans to add any more to that position right now. Um, I'm down on Clear Secure, and I'm kind of done dollar cost averaging into it right now. But now I'm down on Johnson and Johnson and Realty Income, and those are ones that I do want to dollar cost average down on and build up the position a little bit more. So, yeah, if there's an opportunity to dollar cost average down, I like to take advantage of it. But there's some stocks in my portfolio where I'm fine with the position size that I have, and I don't really want to add more to them. And that's kind of where I'm at with Clear Secure right now. Like I'm fine with the position where it's at. And I want to spend a little time just adding to some other things. Maybe I'll come back to Clear in the future and WP Carry in the future. But for now, I'd like to work on Johnson and Johnson and Realty Income and Vici Properties and just some other positions out there. So hopefully that makes sense. Really good question. But yeah, guys, we're gonna we're gonna wrap it up here. Good stream though, almost 20 minutes over the mark, and still 150 of us here in the stream right now. So with that said, guys, thank you guys for hanging out with me tonight. And I'm sorry to switch up the schedule again. Next week, next Friday, we should be back to normal. Big few days coming up. Holiday season. We got Christmas, and Boxing Day for you Canadians coming up this next week. And with that said, I hope you all have very happy holidays. Merry Christmas. A fantastic Boxing Day. Happy Hanukkah, whatever it is you celebrate out there. I hope you guys all enjoy the holiday season. I hope Santa is good to you this year. And that's pretty much it. Got a big video coming out tomorrow, guys. Definitely check that out. Touches on some of the things that we talked about tonight. So I'll be repeating myself a little bit for those of you guys tuning into the stream, but it'll still be a good video nonetheless. I think you guys will enjoy it, and I would appreciate it if you would check it out. So that'll be going out first thing bright and early in the morning. But otherwise, I won't see you guys until after Christmas. So yeah. Oh my gosh, Patrick. I don't know. Who knows what he did on Boxing Day? That's funny though. But yeah, guys, I hope you all enjoy the rest of your weekend. Happy holidays, and I'll see you in the next one.